IVM.
There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the survey.
Hi everybody, welcome to episode 60 of the Fighting G.O.A.T. My name is Arjun Chipalkatti, aka Mystic Chips, and you are listening to the only fighting podcast on ivmpodcast.com. We have a lot of great content coming up, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Advertising is Dead, content strategist Manish Pandey shares useful insights about the creator economy with Varun. On The Longest Constitution, it's an Ambedkar special. Priya tells us about the father of the Indian Constitution. On Shunya One, Sheila Ditya asks Mihir Gupta, CEO and co-founder of Teachment, about his dream of changing the Indian education system. On Big Talk About Tiny Humans, Devi Shobha and Meghna share how to navigate the delicate process of LGBTQIA kids coming out to their parents. And on Tere Mere Raste, Kesho takes us to the birthplace of so many great films, Universal Studios. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you enjoyed this show or any of our other shows for that matter, do please tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. You can check us out on YouTube as well. On ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, we have a list of all of our YouTube channels. Do check out if your favorite show is available as full video. We are also doing a small listener survey to better understand how you respond to our shows and advertising on the network. We'd really appreciate it if you could spare a few minutes to fill it out. It helps us build better shows for you. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors for this week, SBI Life Insurance, India Water Portal, and Jupiter, a digital banking app. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Hi guys, welcome back to episode 60 of the Fighting G.O.A.T. My name is Arjun Chipalkatti. I'm with my partner and those Somesh, the Superhuman Kamra.
Namaste, dosto. Namaste, dosto. It's a beautiful day today. I am sitting in one
beautiful.
park.
It's so hot here.
Well, I'm sitting in the beautiful educational city of Manipal in Karnataka, and it just rained out here. So
There's
the weather
education
is
in Manipal?
beautiful.
Please. All I remember is that tons of bars where people go partying.
Well, but who goes partying? Those are the students out here that go partying. It is an extremely beautiful place. It has just rained, so the climate has been great. I'm in a very happy mood and a sad mood because we have some news to break with you guys. But that's coming up later. But Chips, we had,
First the bad news.
Coach.
First the bad news before we go into the good news.
No, but let's start with the good news. And we'll end with the bad news.
Okay. The best news that I've heard this week was a potential return of heavyweight guru and new heavyweight and light heavyweight god, Johnny Bones Jones. Mr. Kamra.
Absolutely. There are speculations that John Jones is currently negotiating his next contract with his employers, which is the UFC in the heavyweight division. He's looking to come back in July versus the former heavyweight
UFC
champion.
275 or 276 is what
276 versus Stipe Miocic. And that's happening.
Yes. I know, and the thing is that the speculations going on, nothing has been decided yet, but they are very, very sound speculations. It's being said that maybe John Jones will face Stipe Miocic for the interim belt, while Francis Ngannou waits in the wings to see who the winner is, because apparently Francis Ngannou is not ready to fight anybody right now. He's doing his own negotiations as they go on simultaneously. So, John Jones coming back, man, you know what a great matchup that is. But honestly, I see it favoring the former light heavyweight king.
Absolutely. I think that the kind of tools that he has versus the way he uses them, I am of a strong opinion that John Jones is possibly going to dominate the heavyweight division unless and until there's one of those freak knockouts that happens. Because, you know,
it's the way he moves. You know, it's the way he moves. He doesn't get hurt easily. He's always rolling. He's always moving backwards. He's always moving side to side. So, and by the time you come and you actually put your foot down to attack, he's already kicked your legs out a few hundred times. Those side kicks to the knee, oblique kicks, calf kicks. There's so many He's so rangy, and he's one of those unique fighters that can hit you from range. So Stipe already has bad knees.
Well, see, the way this goes normally is that the top 5 in the heavyweight division are extremely egoistic individuals. And, when they feel that there's a new contender that's coming on the card, they are all going to go at him. Now, it's up to Jon Jones to actually cement his position and start taking them out piece by piece. Because in the heavyweight division, see, it's not like the light heavyweight division where, maybe a DC shot or an Anthony Rumble Johnson shot is going to catch Jon Jones and he can eat it. In the heavyweight division, it's as simple as one Francis Ngannou uppercut or one right by Derek Lewis could completely shut your lights out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But it's also the technique, is that we look at when you compare the lighter weight divisions with the heavyweight divisions. What do we say?
Yeah.
The heavies sacrifice technique for power because they've got so much power, they just throw. They don't. You see the middleweights, you see the welterweights, you see the lightweights, see the technique in which they throw. You see an Alexander Volkanovski's technique, how he steps in and steps out.
Right.
It's very big difference. Stipe Miocic, you see that it's not very pretty, but he gets the job done. Francis Ngannou against Rosenstruck, he was swinging and flailing his hands. And one landed and, that ended the show. So that's the thing. Somebody like Jon Jones, who's such a tactical thinking man's fighter, is going to have a great time because not only is he's never been, you can't say Jones is a dangerous striker. It's his.
Right.
It's people don't know how dangerous his takedowns are. People don't know how his range is.
But at the same time, that was in the light heavyweight division, which was of a certain weight category. Now,
come on.
I would have loved to see Jon Jones entering that division with a fight with Ciryl Gane because Ciryl Gane is fast. He's got good technique. He's got good hands and legs.
But I'm not very worried about somebody like Ciryl Gane because Ciryl Gane, no matter what, he doesn't have finishing power. Whereas if you look at, say, Alistair Overeem. But if you look at Alistair Overeem, had Alistair Overeem been around...
Alistair Overeem is not there in the UFC anymore.
Had he been around, he would have posed a very dangerous threat.
Yeah, but, he's not...
Sadly, he's not there anymore.
See, Jon Jones is possibly in his early 30s right now. He has a good 6-7 years more in the UFC. I personally feel the Ciryl Gane fight would have been nice because I still feel in the grappling wrestling department, Jon Jones is going to be way superior for Stipe Miocic.
To everybody, dude. Ciryl Gane got taken down by Francis Ngannou. Jones would have
Francis Ngannou. See, Francis Ngannou is a natural heavyweight. Jon Jones is coming up to heavyweight. At max, he'll be 245, 250 pounds of loaded, muscle.
Yeah.
Someone like a Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou, they are naturally big in size, and some of them even have to cut weight to make it, make it a 265.
But come on, so you and I both know this, that, sometimes the way Jones tosses people, he does it more with technique than with power.
But we've not seen that in the heavyweight division.
Correct, exactly. So if I'm saying that if he does that to say somebody like if he can take down, you see guys who say when they have a certain technique that can work across divisions. And it's not like Jones is an undersized guy. He's a big guy himself. He was huge for light heavyweight. So with him at 250, he's going to be a very big force to contend with.
Absolutely.
But that, guys, once that fight is fixed, I promise you we'll have a whole episode dedicated to that because we have a lot more to talk about. We have, because last week we spoke to a very, very, esteemed guest. And this week we didn't have time to do a recap of UFC 273, which was such a great card. We were all in the studio together and I win my bet against Mr. Kamra again.
No.
I bet you that Aljamain Sterling would retain his bet.
That was the only one that you won. You
That's
bet,
the only
you
one
bet
that
on Korean
mattered.
Zombie. No.
That's the only one that mattered. No. Sach bol. Dil mein, tere ko kahan dukha, sach mein. Dil mein kahan dukha? Wahi dukha, na?
See, I won with Khamzat and I won with Alexander Volkanovski.
The thing is, but you and I both agree. Okay, so let's run the results back. Okay, the three main fights in the event were Alexander Volkanovski and the Korean Zombie, Chan Sung Jung defending his belt. We had Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns. And of course, we had Aljamain Sterling taking on Petr Yan. And now in the Khamzat fight, I'll say one thing though. I sincerely and honestly feel that fight could have gone to Burns. I saw that fight again.
I think so too.
And on the fight metric scorecard, Burns was up.
I think so too. In fact, it was quite shocking that Gilbert Burns' fight was a unanimous decision.
That was completely
29-28 across all judges. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. At the same time, with a heavy heart, I have to say this. I think Aljamain Sterling, the decision was a split decision. I feel should have been a unanimous decision.
Correct. It was the opposite.
It was clear 48-47 across all boards.
Yeah, where it should have been unanimous, it was split. And where it should have been split, it was unanimous. But coming back to the Kamsat fight, it answered a lot of questions. President Dana White said, cut the guy some slack. He's cracked the top 10. He's just beaten Gilbert Burns. And I'm honestly saying this, that in his
Gilbert
victory...
Burns ranked 3.
Correct. He's cracked that top 5 now. But I'm honestly saying that in defeat, Gilbert Burns has exposed more of Kamsat Chimaev than anybody else has. It has proved that that man is human. It's proven that he can be knocked down. It's proven. And it proved one thing that, maybe it's right or wrong for anyone to say this, but it's proven that he's not ready for the champ, because Kamaru Usman would have fended off those takedowns and got him.
Right. Absolutely. In fact, but a lot of people spoke about the fact that Kamsat cannot take a shot. Of course, in his last 3-4 fights, he's just taken one shot. But in this fight versus Gilbert Burns, he took 117 significant strikes and he was still there. Yes, he did get knocked down.
Dude, he got wobbled all badly.
Of that. But he still hung in there. And at the end of the day, whatever it is, he won the fight. This event was at the ViStar Memorial Arena, which was in Jacksonville, Florida. 14,605 people in attendance, and they were all rooting for Burns at the end of it.
They were, because they knew who won the fight.
Correct.
And honestly, I'll tell you, where you knew that it affected Kamsat was in the post-fight press conference. I was watching the way he was responding. He's like, I came in and I got my 50 Gs. Oh yeah, I fight. I don't care. I come for my 50 Gs. He was defensive because he came in and talked a lot, saying that, I'm going to knock, I'm going to smash this fool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Right. And I think he realized himself that maybe a lot of times the fighters get caught up in their own hype.
Yes.
A lot of times.
Yes.
Guys like Sage Northcutt got caught up in his own hype, and see what happened with his career. There are a lot of guys it happened to like that. And Kamsat is now, it becomes a very important moment now for us, Somesh, because either he changes and he improves, or he's going to get realized by other guys. The champs, guys like Colby Covington and Usman are uber elite fighters. Elite. And these guys will work it out. I mean, somebody like Colby, who's so tough, so tough, is going to pose a real threat. And also, let's not mention, Kamsat got tired in a non-grappling 3-round fight. Do you know the kind of pressure that Kamaru and Colby put on someone?
Oh my God, that would absolutely be crazy. In fact, the last event, which had Bilal Muhammad and Vicente Luque, would have been a very interesting fight, because Bilal Muhammad finally beat Vicente Luque, and that was also in the welterweight category. Now, if you just see the top welterweights out there, there's Colby Covington, there's Leon Edwards, there's Kamsat Chimaev, Gilbert Burns, and Bilal Muhammad, and Leon Edwards is right now cracking that Kamaru Usman fight. So honestly, so in terms of sheer rankings, I think there is nobody apart from Colby Covington that Kamsat needs to fight. But I truly believe someone like a Bilal Muhammad can also give him a tough fight. If you ask me, a Kamsat versus a Bilal Muhammad would be perfect for Abu Dhabi.
It's actually, honestly, it makes no sense for Kamsat. I mean, this is according to me, because if he fights Bilal Muhammad, Bilal has already asked for Gilbert Burns. And I don't think he's ready for Burns, to be honest.
Oh, no.
Honestly, after that performance from Bilal Muhammad, where he got cracked by Luque with a shot left, not even a hard one, short one. He got cracked by Luque once or twice, and then he went to his blanket. I think something was up with Vicente Luque that day, because he was just, when Vicente Luque fought Michael Chiesa took him down, and Luque was so aggressive off his back, ended up catching him in a Darce choke while getting back to his feet. And you could see the same thing. I think something was up with Luque. He was just not being able to, get his momentum going on the ground. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Bilal Muhammad. Props. He followed a game plan that he had to do to win. He followed a game plan that he had to do to win. And he won a 5-round, decision. It was not the prettiest. It was not the most crowd entertaining. It was not the favorite. But a lot of it was a stylistic game plan. And he did what he had to win. So props to him. But it also showed that, no, he's not ready for that top 5. He's not ready for Burns. He's not ready for Colby. He's not ready for Khamzat. He's not ready for Leon.
Colby.
He's not.
Colby is a whole new level, to be
Colby
really
is the
honest.
number one. Colby is still number one right now. So
he's at a whole new level whatsoever.
I mean, I would love to see Bilal versus Masvidal, because that'll give him that'll be a great fight to check him out.
Well, it would be, but I think Masvidal is just going to go for the money fights at the moment. So pretty much that was Khamzat versus
Khamzat.
Dude, Masvidal Khamzat would be really good. But again, I think Khamzat is over that. I think Khamzat is going to eat him up. And if
he can just block the grappling, because Masvidal's got a chin. And Masvidal hits like a truck.
He does. But, people underestimate Gilbert Burns, to be really honest. I think Gilbert Burns is extremely strong. He's got good hands. And he's got great hands. So underrated, so underrated.
But that's the thing. It's either I would love to see Gilbert take on Masvidal right now, because that'll be an interesting fight. Because then we're going to see two power punchers.
Correct. Like, to be honest, I'm not very interested in that fight. It doesn't tickle me, because I think Masvidal is little off his prime, and his full camp fight versus Kumar Usman showed multiple loopholes. And if Gilbert Burns has that same game plan going in, I think Gilbert Burns is going to close Masvidal's
the grappling. Yeah, the thing is that with the grappling advantage that Gilbert Burns has,
yes,
it's going to be too much for. But why I'm saying Khamzat is maybe Khamzat can be goaded into standing with Masvidal.
Correct.
He can be baited. And if he can be baited into standing with Masvidal, this becomes a very interesting fight.
Correct.
Because very few guys can stand with Masvidal. Very few guys.
Absolutely, yes. But there were very few people who could also stand in front of Petr Yan. But I think Aljamain Sterling had a perfect game plan. In the co-main event of UFC 273, Aljamain Sterling finally closes the door on Petr Yan and defeats him via split decision, 48-47, 47-48, and 48-47.
That brings me to actually a small topical discussion that I want to get into, which is going to be slightly longer. So I'm going to push it to just take a quick commercial break and come back. And then we're going to talk about the entire first fight, the second fight, and what we saw in the last UFC Fight Night card with Caio Borralho against Gaziev. I think I'm going to get the name correct, right? But we're going to take a quick commercial break and come back, because we saw one very common similarity. And we're going to discuss it in detail as we take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. You've been listening to The Fighting G.O.A.T.
Namaste, this is Cyrus Brocha. I am part of the government cancel culture program to remove rubbish off all the different streams available. So what we have is all the collected rubbish we put together on our show. It's called Cyrus Says. It's on IVM Podcast. You have to watch it and listen to it. It's on our app. It's on our website. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on Facebook. There are many different ways. Don't bother me and ask me how. You have to find out. We talk to different personalities. Many of them are known. Some are just people we meet downstairs and invite them up for chai. But the point is, it's fun and it's very therapeutic. So please join in and listen to Cyrus Says.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 60 of The Fighting G.O.A.T, where Mystic Chips and Superhuman Kamra are discussing a lot about UFC 273. The fight night that just happened, Vicente Luque versus Bilal Muhammad 2, and the similarities between certain fighters, their attitude, their technique, and a lot more. So, Mystic Chips, just before the break, we went in and you were talking about a certain type of fighter/technique that we were going to be discussing.
No, so in the first fight between Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan, in the fourth round, there was an illegal knee thrown. Okay.
Yes.
It was
where Petr Yan threw an illegal knee on Aljamain Sterling.
Yes. So an illegal knee is where a knee is thrown to a downed opponent. A downed opponent means if a fighter is on his toes, even if he's crouching on his toes, that's considered a standing opponent. The minute there's a 3-point, which means if any other appendage apart from the 2 feet, 2 toes hits the ground, it's considered a 3-point. Which means no more is a fighter allowed to knee the head. You can knee the body, you can knee the shoulders, you can knee underneath the neck. Everything is legal. Apart from that, it's considered a disqualification.
So you're saying that if my feet are on the ground, but one of my hands is touching the canvas, that is a ground opponent.
Correct.
And even if my hand is not touching, even if my knee is touching the canvas, it is considered as a grounded opponent.
Yes. So the minute 3 points of the body are touching the ground, it's considered a downed opponent.
Absolutely. That's a very good explanation for our listeners, because not all of them will know what a grounded opponent is. So that's an excellent analysis of it.
But this only applies in the UFC and under the unified rules system. Unlike in ONE FC, where you are allowed to knee or kick a downed opponent.
Correct.
You are.
Correct.
And that's where the bloodlust in me and Mr. Kamra comes out saying, Yaad hai Pride ke din. Oh, you remember the moment when Khamzat got dropped by Burns and Burns went for a soccer kick?
Soccer kick. He almost soccer kicked him,
Dude, I would have taken the disqualification. I would have
Absolutely.
chalega.
Absolutely.
Pride.
Dude, if that would have happened, trust me, Burns' next fight would have been a sellout. On the pay-per-views.
Oh, man. If
I said, I don't care about the disqualification, but the fact that I'm going to sell out an arena is going to be huge.
You sell out an arena where the referees croak up. The referees croak up. Man. Arey, I didn't see anything illegal. Keep hitting. Stomp also. Shogun is the referee. Shogun, Fedor and Vanderlei Silva are the referees. And Krokop is the in-ring referee. Judges, sorry. So anyway, coming back. So in that fight, Petr Yan landed a legal knee and he got himself disqualified. Now, the first fight, yeah. Now, in the last main event, so just remind me who was the co-main event of the evening because I know how the fight happened. What happened in the fight. But I've forgotten. Is Caio Borralho, I think, is a Brazilian fighter.
Caio Borralho versus Gadzi Omar Gadziev.
So let's say call him Omar, okay? Because he's a new fighter and we're not very well versed with him. So as the fight went on, okay, for 2.5 rounds, Caio Borralho dominated him. And then against the cage, he lands an illegal knee to the face. Boom. Lands an illegal knee to the face.
Yes, he did.
So now, according to the new rules, there's something called a technical decision. Where if the fighter on the ground cannot continue, the points will be deducted for that knee. The fight will be stopped if the fight cannot continue. But no longer is the fighter A, say suppose, for example, like the same thing that happened in the first fight with Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling. Aljamain Sterling got dominated for 4 rounds.
Yes.
Then took the knee. Now, no longer will that problem ever occur because from this point onwards, the points are tallied up to the 3rd round, up to the points. So now you have points that go up to that. So 2.5 rounds they fought, the points were tallied, and the fight went to the actual winner after the deduction.
Very interesting. So basically, no more Oscar nominations from the UFC.
No more awards are going to be nominated for the best actor. Now, a technical decision is going to be awarded.
That is so good. In fact, that was so necessary. You know what the good part about sports, especially in MMA, is that because the sport is growing, it's new, there are always these situations coming up. The UFC is, submitting their reports to the officials, and the main governing council is looking at it and saying, I think we need to change this, we need to change that. I think we can do this, we can do that. So it is such a wonderful sport to be in because so much is happening, so much can happen, as well as the contribution is from all sides. It's a 360-degree, open platform.
So Somesh, you were right by saying, that the new policies are out and these rules keep changing from time to time. But according to me, if you see, I think this was one of those rules which really needed to change. Because absolutely. Now, and can you imagine how pissed off Petr Yan would be right now?
Oh man, he would, but see, it's a good thing because, when somebody explains to him what really happened, this entire scenario, I think he would be one of the game changers of the industry. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Because you see now, Michael Bisping explained it perfectly the other day. Because when Caio Borralho landed that knee, he's like, I'm sick of people saying unintentional. Now, because it is absolutely intentional. You know the rules. It happened. Now, it can happen in the heat of the moment. Soccer kicks happen. Storms happen. But to look and premeditatedly throw a knee to someone's head is absolutely intentional. He's like, stop saying unintentional. Okay, according to me, look, tomorrow, if you're throwing an inside leg kick, the foot slides up and can hit the cup. That is unintentional because you are meant to hit the inside of the leg. You don't mean to hit him on the cup. When you're kneeing somebody to the body, the lower abdomen, sometimes the knee can slide and hit the cup.
Yes.
That is also unintentional.
Yes.
Completely understand that. But when you're kneeing somebody to the head, you know what you're doing.
Absolutely, yes. And, it's not in the heat of the moment. You see that position, you see the fighter has his hand down or he's in a certain position and you go, boom.
Exactly. And
it's very much intentional. I completely agree with you and I completely agree with Michael Bisping on this.
Exactly. And Michael Bisping so smartly said, you're like, you know what? Like punish them properly for that knee. Deduct 2 points, deduct 3 points.
Right.
But deduct the points, make them feel that hurt, feel that pain inside.
Right.
Because if today you deduct 1 point and you're already leading on the scorecards, that's fine. But this is the beginning now. If from tomorrow onwards, depending on the gravity of the knee, depending on how bad the knee is,
right,
you can deduct the point. Depending how badly the fighter got affected by it, you can deduct a point. So if they start deducting 2 points.
Yeah. So there was a time where I think there was a fight between Michael Bisping and Anderson Silva. And there was a time where Michael Bisping's mouthpiece kind of flew out and he told the referee, I think it was Mark Goddard or
Herb Dean.
Yeah, or was it Herb Dean? And he said that, listen, my mouthpiece has fallen out. You just stop it and get my mouthpiece. And at that time, Anderson Silva kneed Bisping in his face and Bisping dropped and he was unconscious and the fight ended.
That should have been the end of the fight.
No, so that was the end of the fight.
No. Michael Bisping won a decision. He came back.
Herb
Dean didn't call off the fight. Herb Dean didn't call off the fight. Michael Bisping got knocked down. He was badly hurt. That should have been the end of the fight. But the bell rang for the round immediately.
Oh, yes. It was like the final 2-3 seconds or something of that sort.
It was the last 10 seconds and Michael Bisping was caught pointing at the referee and Anderson said, you look away, you snooze. Boom, got him.
So, that was not exactly an illegal knee, but at the same time, I think the referee plays a very, very important role, in this situation.
The referee in that situation, according to me, and I've told Herb Dean this personally, saying, dude, I think that was not right, what you did. Because it's not his fault. You are not, you can get distracted. It's your job to say, look at your fighter. Its time is still on.
Yeah.
I'll put in your mouthpiece when I get a chance, when you're not engaging.
Yes.
And Silva took that gap. He's such a wily tactician. He just took that 1 second of loss in concentration and boom, kneed him. And
but when we speak of boom and dropping the fighters, man, how did Volkanovski drop the Korean Zombie?
Oh, we are moving up now. My God, I don't know what to say. It's, that man does not get the respect that he deserves. And do you feel, Somesh, somewhere that he's going down that same Mighty Mouse route? He's racking up the wins. And he's not getting the love and he's not getting the respect.
You have in fact stolen the words from my mouth because UFC or there was some Combat World or some, news channel that on Instagram that, said who's the best featherweight of all time. And they had Brian Ortega, they had Max Holloway, they had Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
And I think they had one more fighter there and Alexander Volkanovski's name was not there.
What are you saying?
I was like, dude, 21-0.
21-0. Beat Max Holloway twice. By whatever.
No, but he won. He won. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he won. The results say he won. He won.
He beat Brian Ortega. He's taken everybody out. And his team was not
last
in the
two fights. He's not beating people. He's brutalizing them. He brutalized Brian Ortega. He brutalized the Korean Zombie.
And in fact, Korean Zombie is somebody who doesn't get knocked out. He only gets freak knocked out by, upward elbows and all of that.
Yair Rodriguez.
You cannot knock out Korean Zombie. He's called a zombie because he keeps marching forward. And Alexander Volkanovski, who doesn't have a height advantage, who doesn't have a reach advantage, who I feel may not even have the power advantage, still knocked him out. And this guy's
it was the doctors. The referee stopped it because of the damage. Zombie was alive.
At the end of the day, it was a TKO,
So it was because it had to be stopped because he was taking too much damage unnecessarily.
And there was a time where he was just wobbling and, the referee just had to come in because they had seen enough,
Yeah,
I mean, if you or me were the referee, we'd be like, 3 more rounds for this. Let's go. But at the same time, I don't think he's getting the respect that he deserves. Of course, maybe he doesn't sell the fights. Maybe he doesn't, act flamboyant or all that. But I think he's one of the best fighters in that division. One of the best fighters.
There's a whole argument that can be made where, we've talked to enough promoters. I've worked with enough promoters in boxing and MMA. And they've all told me saying, you know what? It's all well and good to have an undefeated fighter. But if you're not putting asses in the seats, and if people are not willing to pay for you, I'm not going to care that much. Like,
absolutely,
you're great,
yes.
You're very good. But see, that's why guys like Anderson Silva, they were all in a very weird position. Anderson later in life started selling a lot of tickets. Later in Brazil and certain places.
Right.
But in certain places, Anderson didn't sell. But the thing is that guy is unfireable. You can't fire an undefeated phenom who's knocking people out in the first round. You just can't. You can't fire somebody like that because you'll be stupid to fire somebody like that. But at the same time, you're not giving him his solo main event slots. because he can't sell cards on his own.
Right.
And there are guys who are, regardless of, Conor could lose 5 more, but people will still come to watch Conor.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes.
Same thing happened
coming back to the champ,
Mouse,
coming back to the champ, I'm so happy because what news we've got is that Henry Cejudo is back in the USADA testing pool.
Yes, I heard.
And he clearly said, I want to come back and face the featherweight champion because I want to become the first guy to hold a belt in 3 weight categories. So that's another very interesting prospect. Because he did it for the 125-pound division. He did it for the 135-pound division. And no matter what you say, he took TJ Dillashaw out. He took Mighty Mouse out. He's taken some of the best guys in the business completely out of business. So I was like, it's great to see Henry Cejudo back. I don't know how he'll fare versus Alexander Volkanovski.
No, but the thing is, so guys like Henry Cejudo also, he's got that mindset, that champion mindset where they just, where they don't care. They're ready to go into the deepest of waters because they don't care. They don't have that word lose in their vocabulary. They just don't.
Yes.
And Henry Cejudo is one of those animals who, to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
And if anybody, I think, could give, him another, this thing is Cejudo. Cejudo is also nasty. And Cejudo's grappling is on another planet, dude. Olympic caliber grappling.
Oh,
His
absolutely.
wrestling is
absolutely
insane. I mean, he threw TJ Dillashaw to one side like he was a child.
Yeah,
I remember that fight.
It was crazy.
And if anybody could do it, it's but coming back to that Mighty Mouse thing, I hope that, fighters like Volkanovski, you can't train PR. You can get a publicist, you can get somebody. But Volkanovski, even for all the trash talk he talks now, he says sorry before it only, because he said something to Max Holloway saying that, oh, you're facing somebody because you didn't want to face me or something. And then he immediately apologized, saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. And I'm like, come on, let there be a little trash talk, chap. Let there be a little trash talk. I want to see it.
But sometimes, see, fighters are human at the end of the day, and not all of them are like a Conor McGregor that will run their mouth even after breaking their leg.
Correct.
So,
your wife is in my DMs.
I just think that it's nice to be a good guy. But most of the times, the good guys don't sell. It is the bad guys that sell. And that is pretty much what it is. But what is coming up, buddy boy? After the short commercial break, we'll be talking about the 2 fight nights, which is Bilal Muhammad versus Vicente Luque in brief. And the card after that, where we have, of course, the women's strawweight division, where Amanda Lemos is taking on Jessica Andrade, and we have Clay Guida on that card. So a lot more coming up after this short commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with episode 60 and some quick information about the Fighting GOAT. Stay tuned.
सफर, रास्ते, मंजिल और मुकाम अक्सर ये हमसे कुछ कहना चाहते हैं, पर हम हैं कि अपनी रोजमर्रा की जिंदगी में इन्हें सुनने से कतराते हैं। नमस्ते दोस्तों, मेरा नाम है केशव चतुर्वेदी और मैं आपको ले चलूंगा कुछ ऐसे सफर पर जहां आपको एक नया नजरिया मिलेगा सफर और मंजिलों को देखने का। आइए इन किस्से कहानियों में डूब जाएं, हर मंगलवार और शुक्रवार।
Welcome back. You've been listening to episode 60 of The Fighting GOAT with your host, Arjun, aka Mystic Chips, Chipalkatti, and my buddy Somesh, the Superhuman Kamra. We've been talking about a lot of things in the world of MMA. There's a lot of news coming up and a great new card coming up as well, which is a all-female headliner between Amanda Lemos taking on the very own female division's Mike Tyson, aka Jessica Andrade.
Absolutely. And also we have Clay Guida on that card. Clay Guida, I think, is closing into his, 45th fight or something of that sort.
Excuse me, much more.
Yeah. But yeah, so, great strawweight division. Amanda Lemos is a new kind of fighter coming on. She's trying to displace Jessica Andrade from her premier position.
That's a good fight because there's no better fight. There's no better person. I say if you want to get to that championship, you take off one of the top lieutenants.
Yes.
And Jessica Andrade is a perennial top 2. She's not gone lower than top 1 or 2. I mean, she lost to who? She barely lost to Rose Namajunas.
Yes.
She lost convincingly to Valentina Shevchenko, but that's in a different division. And but see who she's lost to. She's lost to the greatest in the world. There's no shame in losing to the greatest in the world.
Valentina Shevchenko.
And Valentina Shevchenko. And she's 1-1 with the current strawweight champion. So she's won over there. Correct. So a win here could probably propel her into that. But right now, I think the champ is facing the Cookie Monster next, right? I think the strawweight champ is going to be facing... God, I forgot. I only call her Cookie Monster, man.
Well, Valentina Shevchenko is going to be back in action in Singapore, UFC 275.
Who is she fighting?
Valentina Shevchenko, she is, I don't remember, to be honest, who
new contenders
she's fighting.
Basically.
Yeah.
No, hang on. Valentina Shevchenko versus Ritual Sacrifice. It's true, man. No, but come on, man. There's a time where everybody used to be like Anderson Silva versus whoever,
It didn't matter.
Yeah, John Jones versus Ritual Sacrifice. Valentina Shevchenko versus Ritual Sacrifice.
Yeah, Valentina Shevchenko is facing Taila Santos, the Brazilian fighter, next.
I will never ever count out a Brazilian fighter. These guys are too tough. They go for broke. They don't care if they break their limbs. But
absolutely, yes.
It's just, it's just one of those fights. But that being said, guys, we've got some news for you coming up with the Fighting G.O.A.T. We're going to be sadly taking on a 2-week break. But there is light at the end of that tunnel because we are rebranding and we're re-innovating and we're going to come back with a whole new avatar and look at a whole different time, which is yet to be confirmed.
Yes, absolutely. The Fighting G.O.A.T, as Mystic Chip said, is going to be on a 2-week break. We will come back with UFC 274, absolutely rebranded.
But we'll come back with our own lives in the middle to keep everybody company,
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll be live, but the Fighting G.O.A.T as a podcast is on a 2-week break because we've entertained you across 60 shows every single week, 4 times a month. And sometimes we just need to take a little bit of a step back. It's like one of those breakups, where the girlfriend goes abroad for 2 weeks.
Breakup for 2 weeks only? Yeah, it's only a 2-week breakup. So,
it's only a 2-week breakup.
So technically, as Ross would say to Rachel, we were on a break. We're going to be on a break for 2 weeks. But that doesn't mean you don't enjoy all the Fighting G.O.A.T content, which is available on ivmpodcast.com. Follow me, Arjun Chips, at Arjun Chips on Instagram, and on Twitter, I'm at the Mystic Chips. Go Somesh.
Well, you can stay updated with me, Somesh.Kamra on Instagram, Somesh_Kamra on Twitter. Stay tuned. We're going to be posting all updates on when we'll be back. We are rebranded and we're coming back with a live show only on ivmpodcast.com. So ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned. Check out some exciting content on ivmpodcast.com and we will see you back in 2 weeks with Mystic Chips and the Superhuman Kamra. Till then, stay safe and take care of yourself.
A wise man once said, traveling, it makes you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller.
Well, listen to such travel stories and experiences exploring India on the Musafir Stories with us, Saif and Faiza.
Catch us on the IVM website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
तुम्हाला पण पैशांसंबंधित निर्णय घेणं कठीण वाटतं का? इन्व्हेस्टमेंट, स्टॉक्स, इन्शुरन्स आणि फायनान्स संबंधित टर्म्स तुम्हाला कन्फ्यूज करतात का? मग तुम्ही एकदम अचूक ठिकाणी आला आहात. खास महिलांसाठी IVM पॉडकास्ट घेऊन येत आहे SBI लाईफ इन्शुरन्स प्रस्तुत एक सिप फायनान्सचा. हा पॉडकास्ट तुमचे हे सगळे प्रश्न सोडवेल. फायनान्सच्या अनेक कठीण संकल्पना आमची होस्ट प्रियांका आचार्य अगदी सरळ सोप्या पद्धतीने समजावून सांगेल. प्रियांका आचार्य गेली 14 वर्ष आर्थिक नियोजनाचं प्रशिक्षण देतेय. हा पॉडकास्ट अनेक भाषांमध्ये उपलब्ध आहे. तर मग हा पॉडकास्ट ऐकण्यासाठी दर मंगळवारी ट्यून इन करा IVM पॉडकास्ट आणि इतर पॉडकास्ट स्ट्रीमिंग प्लॅटफॉर्म्सवर.